All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Larkspur Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. At the beautiful downtown Larkspur City Council chambers of Larkspur, California. So could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Wagstaff,
I am here.
Commissioner Campbell,
Here.
Commissioner Swisher,
Here.
Commissioner Chalmers,
Here.
Commissioner Hull.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Excellent. So first, let's have any public comment on matters not on the agenda. All right. Anybody on Zoom?
If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand if you want to comment.
All right. Hearing none. Are there community development directors reports?
I wanted to let you know that tomorrow they're holding a workshop here at City Hall to talk about City Hall and future plans for the building. And there's going to be a presentation by Page and Turnbull, who's the consultant that reviewed the structure. I'm told also there's going to be a great 3D model that they prepared of the existing conditions that will be just preparing or be presented on a loop here in City Hall. And then there'll be areas, it'll be set up like a charrette where people will be able to provide comments and ideas about what ideas they have for future use of City Hall. So no decisions are going to be made. It's just a time to collect potential different uses that might be envisioned for City Hall so that the consultants can do more research as to what that would mean for building.
That's at 6 p.m.
6
tomorrow.
Here.
Okay, very good.
That's all I have.
Will they be giving a walking tour? Are they going to take people around or
Not-
just wander around?
No,
No.
there's no tour
Okay.
other than the 3D tour.
Right. Okay.
City Hall.
But it sounds like the model is really incredible because it was done with some sort of 3D camera. So it's like virtual reality of walking through City Hall. So you may get the same experience by watching the video.
All right.
And then the PowerPoint will be at least put up on the website later. If you do miss it, you'll have an opportunity to see the presentation.
Will the presentation be recorded? Or we
I
can-
don't know that yet. Definitely the PowerPoint is going to be up,
Okay.
possibly the presentation too.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. All right, then let's open up the public hearing. The first item on the agenda is 82 Cielo Drive, APN 070-353-11, Westward Builders LLC applicant, Michael Green owner, and the PLN 25-001. This is a request for a slope use permit to allow replacement of an existing failing wood retaining wall in the rear yard with a reinforced concrete wall, which is up to 7 feet in height. The project involves 47 cubic yards of cut, 27 cubic yards of which will be backfilled with drain rock. All right, can we have the report?
Yes, let me just share my screen here. There we go. I'm going to try to keep it brief for everybody tonight. As you've just heard, this is PLN 25-001 for 82 Cielo Drive. The property is located at the very top of the Greenbrae Hills. There's an overhead shot on the left and then the Google Street View on the right. The project seeks to demolish, as you've said, demolish a failing wood retaining wall and replace it with a concrete retaining wall. This is only before you because the amount of grading required exceeds the city's trigger for a slope use permit. And when any entitlement is required, design review is tacked on as well. So that's why there's both permits in front of you. And there's the site plan on the left in the PowerPoint. You can see the outline of the proposed wall in red here. And here's a more zoomed in view and then a section drawing of the wall. And you can't really see it you can see it somewhat on this screen. It's got the proposed heights where it notes it's about 7 feet. There's the highest point in the middle here, about 1 foot on either edge of the U shape. And as you've mentioned, it's about 15 cubic yards of cut and fill, which is for construction and backfill. The trigger for a property with this slope is 25. There's been no public comments on this project, and staff recommends that you hold a public hearing, take public comment, and approve the project subject to findings, conditions of approval, and a Class 2 CEQA exemption. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
I read through the, your report and plus any attached materials, and it looks like they have a construction management plan that's been looked at by the city
Yeah, this has already been reviewed by Public Works and Building and everybody.
and all the approvals are there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the applicant here?
The applicant is on Zoom if you'd like to hear from them.
Sure.
Okay, I am going, there we go. Oh, I have to do it over here. Okay, Mike Green, you should be able to unmute and speak.
Good evening, commissioners.
Hi, Mr. Green.
Good evening.
So do you have any, anything to add to the report from the city?
At this time, no. As Alex mentioned, we have a couple of failed retaining walls. We're kind of, we're trying to shore up the property is what we're doing. It's really one of those situations. We have an incredible amount of water running under the house as well, coming off the hill. So this is going to actually shore up that problem as well. So this is a project that we, when we purchased our home about a year and a half or so ago, knew that we were going to have to do something. And this is kind of, I guess you could say, eliminating two issues: one, the failed retaining wall, and two, fixing our drainage issue. So as far as everything else is concerned, I know Alex has been very hands-on in the whole process. We've been kind of through the gambit of answering questions, doing revisions, things like that with our contractors and our geoengineers, and we feel like we're doing everything we possibly can to essentially shore up what is a pretty big hill behind our house.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, with a lot of, and the engineers obviously have done all the calculations for, for the strength of the retaining wall, make sure there's not creep down it, I'm sure. I mean, you're a soils engineer, aren't you? Good. We have a soils engineer on our planning commission who.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, we were very lucky to be able to work with Dave and Otto Olness out of the East Bay, but apparently they've done a ton of work here in Greenbrae. As a matter of fact, he did our direct neighbors. She has essentially a tiered retaining wall above her property. We decided not to go that direction. But fortunately, Dave and Otto are incredibly familiar with pretty much the inner workings of our hill. It's been fascinating process, but we've had many people come over and look at the hill, and we were very confident that with Dave's expertise and kind of just going through all the calculations and seeing what his process was, I wouldn't want to have it any other way, because if this doesn't work, then we have a bigger problem than frankly I care to ask for. So yeah, I'm very confident that all the proper calculations have been made, drill soil samples, things like that. So
yeah, you've got a 50 foot rise between the back to the top of that. That's pretty steep.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our landscape designer was over here, and it was her first time going on the hill. We're making plans, hopefully, for when we're done with this particular portion of the project. And her first line in her email was, "Wow, what a hill!"
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at this thing pretty regularly from where I'm sitting right now. If it wasn't dark out, I'd be staring at it, as a matter of fact. And it's a hill, it's a mountain. It's pretty unbelievable. But it's the other unbelievable thing to me, quite frankly, is the amount of water that comes off of this thing, not just from our part of the hill, but just going all the way down Cielo. I mean, look, it hasn't rained here. I admittingly was out of town for the last week, but there is still water coming off that hill, and we haven't had any significant rain, to my knowledge, in over a week. That's just a big part of it as well.
Yep. All right. Well, very good. Thank you. Is there any other public comment on this? Anybody on Zoom?
If you're on Zoom and you'd like to provide a comment, please raise your hand.
All right. I'm going to take the public comment out and bring it back to the commission. Do we have any comments from the commission? I'll start with Brock.
I think a retaining wall is a great idea. That's a very steep hill back there, and I'm sure they'll do a good job. So,
yep. Liam, our soils engineer.
Yep. Commenting on this as a planning commissioner, though, not as your engineer. But yeah, I think I agree with Brock. Retaining wall seems like a good idea, especially to replace one was already there and has fallen down. So I make the findings.
Yep. I can empathize with you. I have the same situation at our house, so go for it. So that's it for me.
Yeah, I can make the findings as well. Sounds like it's a very necessary requirement in the back for safety reasons, and it's generally hidden from the street. And maybe after Commissioner Hull gives her comments, I did want to ask, because I understand now why it's coming to the commission, but I was wondering if there was a way we could avoid matters like this coming to the commission and just be handled at the staff level.
Yeah, we can certainly, it is a very low trigger for a slope use permit, and in a use case like this, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So I hear you loud and clear, and we can certainly return
mean,
at a later meeting.
Right?
for a-
I mean, don't you think maybe this is something that doesn't need to be at the commission level?
Sure.
We need something easy every once in a while.
Yeah.
Other than moving
All
stuff.
right. Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Hall.
I have no comments. I can make the findings.
All right. Given that, can I have motion?
I move to approve project 25-001 at 82 Cielo Drive, subject to the conditions of approval, the findings, and the Class 2 CEQA exemption.
I can second.
Can I have a vote?
Commissioner Wagstaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Chalmers.
Yes.
And Commissioner Hull.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Green.
There is a 10-day appeal period. Anyone who would like to appeal the matter should file an appeal fee and the appeal form with the city clerk within 10 calendar days.
All right. Next is 56 Diane Lane, APN 021-204-20. Heather Foy, applicant, 56 Diane LLC, residential zoning district, project number PLN 24-15. This is a request to allow demolition of the one-story residence and accessory structures, which is 1,967 square feet, and construction of a new two-story, 4,397 square foot single-family residence, including an attached 508 square foot two-car garage on the lot. So it's for design review for the new two-story residence and heritage tree removal for 2 trees in the yard, and a fence height exception to allow reconstruction of the 8-foot tall fencing along the side property lines. This was a matter that was brought before, I believe, the January 14th
Correct.
commission, and
You
then there
heard
was
it on
recommendation.
January 14th, and it was continued. So this report will be fairly brief too.
Okay, can I have a report, please?
I'm going to
Oh,
step
thank you.
aside.
Oh, that's right, Brock. Dr. Brock Wagstaff has to recuse because he lives in close proximity to the property.
So as a reminder, this is for 56 Diane Lane, and it's in the Heather Garden subdivision, and it's one of the 2 largest lots in the subdivision. Because of the unusual shape of the subdivision, some of the lots that are on the east side are a little bit larger than the others. They're asking for demolition of the existing residence and construction of a new residence, as Chair Swisher just announced. And it also involves a tree permit and a fence height exception to replace some taller fencing along the side and rear property lines. At the last hearing in January, some neighbors expressed concern about the mass of the house and the modern aesthetic, and also concerns with integration of the design with the character of the neighborhood. And the commissioners provided feedback to the applicant. At least one preferred a gable roof. All of the commissioners opposed the privacy wall that was proposed, and then asked for the front elevation to be softened. There was no objections to the tree removal or the fence height exception. So the applicants have returned and made modifications to the design. They have a presentation, so I'll let them explain the changes, but just in summary, they softened the front facade with traditional elements such as trim and divided windows. They converted the flat roof to a gable roof for better integration and added solar panels on the east-facing roof. They removed the solid concrete privacy wall, making the entry visible, and they replaced the vehicle turnaround with additional landscaping. So some of the key issues under consideration are just the scale of the house with the neighborhood, as it is the largest home in the subdivision and more than double the average size. But that didn't seem to be a concern with the planning commission at the last meeting. There's also we wanted to consider the roof design gable versus the flat roof elements, particularly since the neighbor at 60 Diane Lane had preferred the flat roof, but we have not had any correspondence from him. And we sent him the plan, so he's aware of the change. And then staff is just concerned with the 2-car garage, just because it's out of character with the pattern in the neighborhood. There's only 2 out of the 138 lots that have a 2-car garage. However, the design makes it not very prominent because the materials for the garage door match the siding of the residence. And then finally, the project is in compliance with all of the R1 zoning regulations, which seemed to be an important point to the Planning Commission at the last hearing. Staff is recommending that if you find the changes to be meeting the concerns that you had at the last hearing, to approve the application subject to the findings and conditions in the staff report. And we just wanted to point out that there is a condition that limits the paint color from being changed in the future. You could remove that condition, but we wanted to put that in case the materials and the exterior color is critical to your approval of this project, as otherwise someone could come in next week and paint it something else. And I don't know if that would matter to you or not. So we've got that included, but it could also be removed to allow future owners flexibility in the color if they want to, for example, have a white house or any other color. And then your alternatives are to ask for additional revisions or approve the project with modifications or deny it. And if you were to deny it, I would base it on the findings of the January 14th staff report. And that concludes my report, unless you have any condition or questions for me.
Yeah, I do. So you are concerned about the garage because am I understanding this correctly? It's not common to have 2-car garages in that neighborhood, and that's your concern? Or is there another concern?
Well, it's uncommon, and it becomes a more prominent feature of the front of the house that no one else has. So most of them have a 1-car garage in the back of the residence where you can't even see the garage, or they might have a 1-car garage at the front, usually recessed beyond or behind the front elevation, and they're just not prominent features of the houses. Whereas, for example, in your Larkspur Marina, it's very typical that they all have front. It's kind of the first thing you see of the house is really the garage. So it's in that sense out of character. On the other hand, this is, I guess others could do it, but most people wouldn't waste their floor area on a 2-car garage in this neighborhood. They actually want to get rid of their garages. So
Right.
will there be many more? No, but that means also this will be one of the only 2-car garages in the neighborhood.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the staff report?
And then okay, I have one more question. So assuming we keep the condition for the paint color in the conditions of approval, and at a future date, they want to change the color, what does that mean? They have to just come to staff, or they have to do something more than that?
I don't have the condition right in front of me. I don't know if I think
Oh.
might have required a planning commission approval.
They have to come
'Cause
back
the-
to the planning
It
commission?
might have put that in just because it's a lot of pressure on staff to change a paint color.
This community is not an HOA community. I have a hard time understanding why
Yeah,
there
I
is a
mean, only
condition
if
for
you-
paint color.
If you thought the house looks fine because of the materials and color, but
Yeah,
if it was a
okay.
different color, like blue, would you have a concern with it?
No, we can discuss that later. I think that's not really in our purview, honestly.
Can it not just be at the staff level? I mean, it just seems,
How about
it
just
seems
not?
expensive.
How about just not having such condition like that?
Yeah,
It's
think
just
that's
it's a
silly.
lot of house, but.
Well, I mean, again, do we want to start dictating what colors people paint?
So
their
how did
house?
it get
I
in
don't.
there? What was the reason for putting it
just
in?
because otherwise they could paint it next. And if you like the house because of the exterior materials
I got it.
and you don't want them changed, then,
Yeah,
Got it.
but if you don't care if someone changes them, which it's, 20 years from now, people are going to want to change them.
Yeah.
right.
So,
Okay.
Right.
Understood.
All right.
Yellow with pink stripes.
Yeah, well, you can, if you want pink stripe. Can we hear the applicant, please?
You might have to take the mic. I think you can take it off the stand, right? so you can see the screen also. Thanks.
Thank you. This is just a brief presentation outlining what we changed because we've already outlined the project in general. So just a updated exterior rendering here. If you can go to the next slide, please. And then this is the previous rendering on the left with the updated rendering on the right, with the changes pointed out. And I apologize, in one of the renderings on the printed version, the front turnaround wasn't taken out, but I've corrected that here. And it's correct in the plans. So we've reduced the paving in the front yard, made the front of the walkway less wide, as well as taken out the turnaround so that there's more green space. We've removed the front privacy wall entirely. We've changed the roof form over the entry deck space to be more traditional. So it's actually the hip roof coming around from the side. We've added a roof overhang for more traditional detailing with a little half round gutter. And we've updated the windows to have divisions to be a little bit more traditional in feel, as well as the patterning of the windows to be consistent, which was a comment from the commission. You can go to the next slide, please. This is just the roof plan for reference showing the roof form on the top that's a single story portion that we've changed to a gable at the suggestion of a few people in the neighborhood and on the commission. We agree that it's a nice formal change, and it allows us to not show the solar panels outside of the house. So basically the solar panels are facing the inner courtyard, which is really nice in our opinion, as well as having perfect orientation. So it's a win-win. The neighbor on that side, we did previously have a flat roof for them. However, we've had discussions with them that a gable coming down actually can be perceived a little bit less intensely than a flat roof. And they haven't been responsive since then. Next slide, please. These are just updated 3D views to give you a sense of the massing from different angles. Next slide, please. Existing site plan for reference. Next slide, please. Proposed site plan, which the only change here is reduction of paving in the front. Next slide, please. The materials have remained the same, but the detailing has been altered to be softer and more traditional. Next slide, please. The landscaping has remained the same with the exception of additional planting in the front where the turnaround and the walkway have been reduced. I think that's the last slide. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions?
Actually, I did. And as far as the 2-car garage go, did you consider making the garage look less monolithic by putting windows on along the garage?
I mean, that's something we could certainly consider. Our intent was to make the garage have as little visual impact as possible, really not point it out.
Yeah.
I think windows could draw more attention there, but perhaps that's something to consider.
I think it would soften, I mean, personally, I think it would soften the exterior and I think it would look nice to have, just square light, across, you might want to just look at that in your rendering because I think from a design standpoint, it would soften it up and would look nice personally, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think it would look nice.
Okay.
Okay, so any other questions? No. Are there any comments from on Zoom?
Zoom, please raise your hand if you want to provide a comment. No hands.
Okay, then let's move it out of the public portion to the, yes? Oh, yes, well, here we go.
My name's Brock Wagstaff. I live at 66 Diane Lane.
Mhm.
And I'm the one who's responsible for the other 4-car garage or the double garage. I think they've done a really nice job and it's a big house for the neighborhood, but our neighborhood is changing and as one of the neighbors, I would welcome them there.
Thank you, Mr. Wagstaff. All right, any other comments from the public or anybody here or on Zoom or anywhere else? All right, excellent. Let's bring it back to the commission. We'll go the other way this time. Ms. Hull.
I could have sworn I was one of the ones that was not opposed to the privacy wall last time. But that's all right. It's gone now. I liked it. And now when I look at it, like, it looks like you could see right through. And I'm like, I definitely want a privacy wall now. So I hope you plant a big tree or something there. Because I wouldn't want it. But other than that, I don't like the idea of putting windows in the garage door. I think that is not a nice design feature. I think it doesn't soften it. I think it, I don't know, just makes it look, I don't know. I'm not a fan of garage doors with windows. I don't have them.
I do.
They also expose, well, there you go, different design styles. But I do think that they also expose you to thieves. You know, they can look in the windows. Other than that, I like the other changes, the gable roof change. I'm not a fan of flat roofs, so I was okay with that being changed. And I can make the findings with the
Okay,
changes.
excellent. All right, Councillor Chalmers.
Okay, we're drawing in some windows here to have a look.
I'm going in some of this.
Yeah, I think the updated design is a lot more compatible with the neighborhood. So I do like it a lot more than before, and I do like the gable roof over the flat roof. And I was encouraged that I guess we didn't hear back from the neighbor, and it sounds like you did reach out with the new design. With regard to the tree removal and the fence height exception, I'm pretty sure that I had no objections to that last time, so there's no further comment on those two. I'm just looking at these windows that Chair Swish has just drawn in. You know, my initial thought that it was just a very stark wall, and I had wondered whether a different color for the garage might have been better. However, I was listening to the comments from staff about not wanting to draw attention to the fact that there was a two-car garage. I don't particularly have an issue with there being a two-car garage. I think it gets traffic off the street and cars off the street. Let's see.
You're the architect.
I want to see. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about the windows. I think we are not architect. Unfortunately, the only architect amongst us is sitting in the audience right now. So,
Clearly a budding architect.
Yeah, right.
however, I would say, given the size of the project, I am not opposed to the condition on not changing color. However, I don't think it makes any sense for it to come back to the commission. I think that's too expensive and too time consuming, and it could just be here's the color we're going to change into, and a sort of an approval at the staff level. So that's my thought on that. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, I can make the findings.
Brock is recused, so Liam.
Yeah, I think I echo a lot of the comments that Natasha just had. The heritage tree and fence height removal, I don't think I had any comments on those last time. And I do appreciate the design changes that were made. It looks a little bit softer, a little bit less stark. More planting in the front, I think helps. And I actually like that the privacy wall isn't there. I think it makes it feel a lot more open and sort of welcoming. I don't have a problem with the garage door not having windows. I don't think I'd be opposed to it having windows. But I don't see the need personally to hold up the project based on that right now. And then in terms of the paint color, I do like that it's sort of a neutral color. I think if it was white, it would stand out a lot more, for example. But I also don't think that we as a commission should regulate paint color of houses. You know, and especially if they have to come back to the planning commission, I don't think that seems.
That hardy board?
Do you have a sample of the color in like 20 years? Just kidding.
After you change the
Are-
color, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's nice, yeah. Are you are you required to make the siding out of hardy board or no? Or like you're like some non, like cementitious board? Yeah, just curious, yeah.
Yeah, it says a flood zone. It's in the flood zone, okay. Yeah, I've got
You
one
can
here.
take it with you back to the sea.
The flood zone location is part of the reason for the overall height of the structure, because we are required to raise the
Right.
floor 1 foot above the FEMA flood elevation, which means that the floor is 3 feet above grade,
Mm.
essentially.
Got it. I should
Okay.
add, actually, I did like the fact that you took the privacy wall out. I was
Yeah.
no privacy wall. I just think it's I add it later. I think given that that community is a very open community, nobody has big fences at the front, and it's just a very welcoming, as you mentioned. So I think that just wasn't as compatible as maybe this new design is. So I'm really I like this one so much more.
Okay, my comments. I'm neutral on the windows. I just thought it might make it interesting architectural feature and kind of like make it less look monolithic. You know, you could also do the same thing with like fake windows. I mean, not real windows, but whatever. I mean, it's your design and it's a beautiful design. I do like the lack of the privacy wall because I like the fact that you can see through the property. It breaks up the front and it makes it much more visually interesting, I think. Plus at night, you'll have lights there. You know what? That's cool. No problem. And I like the landscaping. It looks really nice, and I have no problems with the removing of those trees or with the 8-foot tall fence. So I could make findings for this easily. It's a very nice design.
One thing I did want to say on the overall height of it, it's a big house. It's a big house for the neighborhood, and the garage is bigger than the rest of it. But I think that given the size of the lot, I think it we're within the floor area ratio that's allotted for the lot, and so I think that that doesn't seem like a problem to me. That was part of the
And it is also where Heather Gardens is going. I mean, there's more of these types of houses in Heather Gardens. I mean, it's not, Marinship days anymore. So somebody want to make a proposal? I mean, a motion?
Yeah, I'll go for it. I move to approve PLN 24-15 at 56 Diane Lane, subject to the conditions of approval, with the exception of the paint color,
Number 6.
number 6.
Removal of
Yeah,
condition 6.
Removal
Yeah.
of condition 6. And a class 2 CEQA exemption, right?
I can second.
Vote.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Chalmers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hull,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wagstaff's abstained. So the motion passes 4-0.
Recused.
Or
I
recused.
abstained. Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
congratulations.
There's a 10-day appeal period. Any member of the public can appeal the decision within 10 calendar days by filing a notice or the appeal form with the city clerk and with the appeal fee.
Okay.
All right. So we are not, we're gonna, item C on the agenda, the general plan conformity for potential conveyance of 880 square feet of city-owned real property between 320 and 330 West Baltimore. The city attorney has asked us to continue this for now. So we will do that. All right. So now we'll move on to item D, make recommendations to the city council on the annual report on general plan and housing element,
And you don't have that either. So that.
We don't have that
continue to next
either,
meeting also.
which is going to be continued to the next meeting. All right, then we will move on to number 5, business items. There that's approving the planning commission meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2024. I was absent and Mr. Wagstaff recused.
And you didn't have these in the packet, did you?
Yeah, they were all coming out Friday and Saturday. So
Yeah,
you
she was
can
emailing me.
continue them to the next meeting as well, and then
I-
we'll have plenty of time to read them.
Oh, I saw the email that you sent with the one for the general plan minutes, and I think we should approve that tonight because
Okay.
that's outstanding, and I'm okay with the change.
Okay.
So if we can at
That's
least
the
prove,
July 23rd, 2024 meeting minutes. So there was just, you'd seen them once before, but they came back with
Mhm.
some additional text.
Okay, well, let's make a move that we approve the July 23rd, 2024 minutes.
Commissioner Wagstaff? Oh, a motion.
Oh,
Okay.
a second.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wagstaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell.
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Yes,
Commissioner Chalmers,
yes.
and Commissioner Hall was recused.
Um,
You could vote if you'd
On
like to.
July 23rd?
I think it's for the general plan and how.
That was August 20th.
Or sorry, or you were recused because you live too close to the
Not for
site.
July 23rd, I wasn't.
Oh, for the housing element?
no, that was the
No.
August 20th.
That's August 20th.
Oh,
The
July,
house-
Yeah.
July 23rd was.
I don't know the date. I just know it was the
19th
housing
Diane
element one.
Lane.
August. Was she giving The
August.
wrong one?
Yeah, so July 23rd, Jeff was.
Oh, that was the
absent.
pump
Was absent.
station. That's where Wagstaff was recused.
Yeah.
You could continue those if you, would you rather?
No, I
rather
read them.
approve 'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
move to approve July
You
23rd.
just have to vote
That
yes, I
one's
think.
done.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so motion carries for July 23rd, and then August 20th is the housing element. of
I'm
the plan.
recused.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of August 20, 2024.
I'll second.
Commissioner Wagstaff,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher.
Yes,
Commissioner Chalmers, and
Yes.
Commissioner Hall.
I'm recused.
The
But you
motion
can-
passes.
all right.
We have two left.
And then the other is September 17th, January 28th, and February 11th. We don't have those minutes with us.
Yeah, they weren't with the packet.
Yeah.
They're just sitting
Oh,
outside, so.
I printed it.
January 28th, I'm
we'll
sorry,
continue
September.
'em to the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll continue those to the next meeting. All right, B, planning commissioners reports. Do we have any?
No.
All right, then item 6 on the agenda, adjournment.
Oh, that's a record time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
We're
Thank you.
adjourned.
we are not done at 7:37. That is amazing.
Wow.
You know what?